Hello friends. This video is for fathers, those who have separated or are in the process of separating from their children. However, there will also be something for mothers who are left with the children after parting from their fathers. Regarding fathers, dear men, no one deprives or will deprive you of your rights to fatherhood, even if your ex-wife threatens you in a conflict. In all the years of practice in this topic, there has not been a single case when, after a divorce, the father was deprived of parental rights. If you are not a murderer, a drug addict, or a complete alcoholic, no one will deprive you of the rights to fatherhood. A lot of men worry about this. Don't worry, no matter what your wife says, it's all emotions, even if she believes in these words. 99 of these words will not interest the judge. And next, men, consider who you have feelings of affection or love for. Call it what you want, but understand these feelings for your child or wife. Many men make compromises with themselves and their wives just to get back into a relationship, often confusing their feelings for their children with feelings for their wife. These are different feelings. I remind you about the roles of a father and a husband. They are two different roles. There is also the role of a family man, but it's an addition to the roles of a father and a husband. If your feelings are directed towards the children, then it's up to you to decide whether you need a partner like your wife, with whom you may have no feelings or only negative ones. If you have feelings for both your children and your wife, address any complaints or expectations you have toward her, especially if she is waiting for you. You can always change the dynamics of the relationship if both partners are ready to change and adjust. In other words, be flexible. If your wife is not waiting for you, then we will work on your feelings toward her to reduce them as much as possible. Some men wonder if they should limit their contact with their child. If it hurts you to see your child, then limit it. But during this time, work through your pain. I will tell you and give you everything for this in the following videos. Let me share an example. A man who had separated but not yet divorced from his wife met with his child on Wednesdays and Sundays. On Thursday, after seeing his child on Wednesday, he was in a depressive state, unable to work, sleep, or eat. He could only think about the child. On Friday he recovered, and on Saturday he would think about Sunday, when he would meet the child. After Sunday, he went through the same recovery process as he did after Wednesday. This cycle continued for several months. What did it lead to? His nerves couldn't take it, and he made a foolish mistake, though luckily it was unsuccessful. In the end, we concluded that meeting on Sundays was enough for him for the time being. After a few weeks of working through the pain, he resumed seeing the child on Wednesdays as well. So if the pain is unbearable, reduce the frequency of meetings with your child to a level that feels comfortable for you. I don't recommend completely cutting of contact, as it will affect your relationship with the child. However, reducing it is an option. You can also adjust the conditions for meeting your child. For example, it may not be necessary to meet in the place where you once lived together. You might also consider avoiding meeting your wife during these visits to prevent seeing what's happening in her life, how she looks now, or her current situation. Additionally, think about how you return the child. If your wife opposes these changes, either ask her to meet you halfway or reduce the frequency of meetings. However, this should be temporary. Once you have worked through your feelings, you can increase the frequency of meetings as much as possible if the other party agrees. Next, I will provide everything you need to help reduce this pain, and I also recommend addressing your feelings toward the child. Any dependency has underlying reasons, including dependency on the child. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not suggesting otherwise. However, when your life falls apart due to your own weakness, it needs to be addressed. No, you are not weak. You have simply identified a weakness that many people experience. Some might worry about their children, thinking they are just children and should not be involved in this. Of course, they should not be directly involved, but as the saying goes, you should have thought about this earlier when you were building your relationship with your ex-wife. Now you need to focus on your own life, not your child's. If you end up in a neurotic ward or a psychiatric hospital, you won't be able to see your child for a long time. You may also lose your job, your friends, your car. Basically, everyone except for the close people who will bring you chicken soup. What kind of an example are you setting for your child? The younger the children, the more they absorb the emotional state of their parents. Now, a message for women. To those who limit the father's contact with the child, I wouldn't recommend doing this. Why? First and foremost, if the father is reasonable and the children want to see him, any restriction on your part is a form of manipulation. Unfortunately, such tactics are used in 90 of cases to send a message to the ex-husband, punish him, prove a point, or make him feel guilty. Don't involve the children in your relationship with their father. The relationship with the children is not the same as the relationship between a husband and wife. Secondly, the children themselves suffer from these restrictions. Don't assume that the younger the child, the easier it is for them to forget their father. Limiting a boy's contact with his father is even more damaging. I have heard female clients say, "I will raise the boy myself the way it should be. I don't question your parenting abilities or opportunities." But the brain is primarily shaped by example. No matter how much you dislike the example provided by your children's father, of course, I mean reasonable fathers, not immoral or asocial ones, the father is the role model for the boy, not the mother. A mother can only imagine what it's like to be a man, just as a man can only imagine the experience of giving birth or enduring monthly discomfort. So it's a matter of opinion, not feeling. And a woman's opinion of the male role in raising children is inevitably influenced by her own feminine experience. A daughter should also not be restricted from seeing her father. She forms her own set of rules and beliefs, which will influence her future relationships with the opposite sex. Additionally, if your daughter is over 3 years old, there is an 80% chance that she will, in the future, seek a man who shares one or more key traits with her father. No matter how much you may dislike your ex-husband right now, he is her father, and they have their own relationship. You can only help them improve it. As for your relationship with your ex-husband, that should be handled separately, not through the child. Of course, this is your life and your children, and you have the right to make your own decisions regarding them. I'm simply offering my recommendations, but the choice and responsibility are yours to make and carry out. Some fathers don't want to maintain contact with their children after a divorce, and this is also quite common. In this case, I advise women to accept it as it is without suffering or getting angry on behalf of the children. Accept the situation. As for the idea that he should communicate with the children, that's simply a belief in your mind, which may not reflect the reality. Remember, the relationship between children and their parents is not the same as the relationship between mom and dad. Parental relationships are important as role models too. But if you weren't able to build a positive example, then it's something that also needs to be accepted. You can create new examples, repair the old ones, or choose to live your life without trying to rebuild anything. In any case, your life should come first, not the relationship between your life and someone else. To summarize, men, no one will deprive you of your fatherhood unless there are serious legal issues. Figure out where your feelings lie, toward your wife or your children. You can limit contact with your children if it's unbearably painful, but only temporarily while you work through the pain. I'll discuss this further in future videos. A fatherhood is just one role, but you are more than that as a person. Your parents didn't raise you just to be a father and nothing else. I won't repeat myself. If you have forgotten, watch the previous videos about I am who I am. Your life is yours alone. With this mindset, your children will take a positive example from you. And when they see a gloomy, sad, or irritable dad, you know what kind of example that sets. Subscribe to become a fulfilled father for your children. Fulfillment doesn't come with time, it needs to be cultivated.